Hello and welcome back to Jack Knives Reviews. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives, and welcome once again to Disneyland Month. Now that we've gotten past the Jungle Cruise ride, let's focus on the most iconic ride in all of Disneyland, the Haunted Mansion. Eager to make a fresh start, Gabby and her awkward son move to Gacy Manor, an abandoned mansion filled to the brim with ghosts unable to leave those that step foot in the manor, even if they leave the premises. Gabby tries to seek the help of a scientist who invented a ghost camera, a bizarre priest, a psychic, and a historian to save her family from the spirits, in particular one that even the ghosts are afraid of, who carries his head in a hat box. So after the abysmal original movie that came out with the same name, I was very much hesitant, and a lot of people were in the same boat as me, as to them making this. There were years and years of speculation of how this movie was going to go. The rumor originally was that Guillermo del Toro was going to do it because he's such a gigantic fan of the ride. He even has elements of the actual ride in his house with a full museum and everything. But when I went into this and saw that they were going for a little more of a fun family comedy, that fear started arising. But I can safely say this was a really good movie. And I don't say that with hyperbole. This was an actual really good movie. Like, actually fun. It felt fun to watch this movie. The cast had a great balance of their own kind of fun little comedic timings, and it kind of felt like a throwback to one of those old 60s movies where you get all these comedians popping up here and there, like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. You know, those movies that had just all these fun comedians of their time coming together. And it has a star-studded cast. Rosario Dawson, Danny DeVito, Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Jamie Lee Curtis. It had a great cast, and you could tell them working on this, they had a lot of fun. But it had also a lot of genuine honesty to the original work. I mean, they got as far down to the details as you really could without it being like a rated R movie. It felt like they didn't do too much, but they did just enough to keep it going, to make you want to go into the ride and watch this movie after going into the ride. It really did feel like a movie that you sat back and go, why aren't more Disney movies like this anymore? Like, this feels like this is a movie that they would have tried to make years ago, but I don't know. It's so fascinating how much I enjoyed this. I really cannot explain why it's so good without giving anything away. The visual effects were really well done. The ghosts were a fun mix of special effects, CGI, also practical effects, without being too frightening for children. The family dynamic of Rosario Dawson as the mother and the kid who was dorky and awkward, but it kind of worked and you understood why he was the way he was. The no-nonsense scientist, he was great. Like I said, each character brought something different, and that's what I liked about it. They weren't trying to one-up each other. They were bringing something different to the table. And I think when you have a movie with that big a star-studded cast, you need to do something like that. You need to bring in elements for each other. This is definitely a movie I would personally put on my list of movies I need to buy eventually. It felt like a movie that I would sit around with my nieces or nephews or kids, adults or parents or grandparents, and just, you know, hey, let's have a movie night and just pop it in. It really felt like it wasn't trying to make a horror movie. It wasn't trying to make a kids movie. It was just trying to make a movie. And that's one of the things that Disney did so well back in the day that I wish they would do now. Focus more on making good movies, not making good category movies, if that makes any sense. This is such a good movie. I can't praise it enough. It's really worth your time. If you haven't seen it, I would highly, highly, highly recommend watching it. I give Haunted Mansion 5 out of 5. Have you seen Haunted Mansion? Let me know in the comments down below. And stay tuned for more Disneyland Month.